Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today we have a Let's Learn About It for my journaling strips that I use the Hero Arts Sentiment die for. I want to first give credit to Nicole over at Collybing. This spreadsheet was created by Nicole, and she has a video on her channel as well. I will make sure to link it below if you would like to see a different perspective on how to use this Google Sheet. The template for the Google Sheet is linked below. It is also linked in Nicole's Facebook group with all of the other details. It is important to note that when you go to the Google Sheet, you cannot make changes to the Google Sheet itself. You need to copy the Google Sheet and then paste the information into your own Google Sheet or Excel document. I use this Google Sheet to type up all of my journaling, and then, as you have seen in a lot of my videos, I will use the Hero Arts Sentiment die to cut out the strips. On the Google Sheet, there are 3 tabs. The first tab is called the Copy of the Main Form. This tab has information in regards to using the Google Sheet. At the top, it states that the Google Sheet was formatted for the Hero Arts Sentiment die. It was created by Nicole over at Collybing Connection. And then it has different sections where it talks about testing, as well as making sure that you copy into your own files. It is important to note that you must print this Google Sheet in landscape, and it's also important that you do not change any of the height of the rows, or your journaling will not fit in the die. It's also important to note that when you print, you need to print the actual size, not the fit to page. So it needs to be at 100%. There is also a tips tab. The tips just give you information in regards to things that you want to keep in mind when you are documenting your journaling. You'll want to make sure that you type as much as you can into the spaces between the black areas on the screen. When this document prints out, you have 2 columns. You can cut it in half and use the sentiment die to cut out each of the sides. While you do have the amount of space in the journaling die, you may not have that amount of space in your particular layout. You'll notice that at the very bottom, Nicole has left justified the journaling. So if your journaling will not fit in a 4 1/4 of an inch length, you can use the left justified and print out only half of the strip and then cut it off before you adhere it down. There are some things that are important to remember. Google Sheet does not spell check, so you will need to run the spell check feature if you would like to make sure that you spell everything correctly. Nicole also has this template in a Google document. I have never used the Google document. I prefer Google Sheets. If you would like more information on the Google Doc, you will need to visit Nicole's video, which is linked below, and she has all of the details on using the Google Doc. The last tab that I'm going to talk about is the Main Form tab. This is where you're going to document all of your journaling. As you can see here, I have lots of journaling already documented. This is from my previous printout of journaling strips. I like to leave in this information because sometimes I have to go back and reprint it. Maybe I cut it incorrectly, I didn't line it up straight, so I always like to leave it here until I'm ready to print again. I like to zoom in on my document so that it is easier to see. From Google Sheets, you can do that by selecting this 100 and changing it to 200, and it makes my eyes so much happier to see that information a little bit easier. The first layout that I'm going to journal about is for Eli's 3rd birthday at Chuck E. Cheese. When I'm looking to journal, a lot of times I will pull from my own story, but sometimes I also want details about specific things that have happened, like in regards to this page of Chuck E. Cheese. So I'm first going to start out with just the basic details. Once I have the details of the journaling, sometimes I like to go back and finesse it a little bit, maybe make it a little more fun, or not just so detailed information. I'm not exactly sure how to explain that any more than that. Just reading over it and trying to find different ways that I can say the information. Sometimes when you copy and paste into a cell, if there is no information in that cell, the formatting will be off. So you'll have to go back in and change the formatting back to what you prefer. My personal preference for the font is Valera Round. I also prefer the size 10 And then I always want to make sure that it is centered justified unless I need that smaller space, and then I will left justify it. And then for my vertical alignment, I want to make sure that it is in the middle so that I am in the middle of my journaling strip. I'm going to type up some additional journaling so that I have a full page to print out. Once I have all of my journaling typed up, I like to save my spreadsheet as a PDF. This is just my personal preference in regards to printing things out. There are multiple ways that you can print. You can print directly from the Google Sheet. My preference is to save it as a PDF and then print it from there. Before I print, I do always run the spell check. You can do that from selecting Tools and then Spelling and then Spell Check. Over on the right, you can see that I have no spelling suggestions. That means that there is no spelling errors. Then I'm going to save my document as a PDF by selecting File, Print, and I have my current sheet listed here, and then I'm going to select Next. Even though it does look like it is printing the document, I have my destination as Save as PDF. So I will save this document. And then finding a location on my computer, I will save the journaling strips. I will then find the PDF document on my computer and open it. My document will open in Microsoft Edge. I will come to the top right and select the printer. When I print, I want to make sure that my layout is in the landscape mode. I then select more settings, and I want to make sure that I select actual size, and this should make your document print at 100%. I print using cardstock that I have purchased from Walmart. Alright guys, so I have gotten all of my journaling printed out for that stack of layouts, which is sitting over here to my left. I did end up needing 2 sheets to print out. Sometimes I do like to have this white space over here because I do like to stack my journaling strips. Once I have them printed out, I will then pull out my journaling strip die and my Big Shot. I will cut the cardstock in half. And it doesn't have to be exact, it just needs to make sure that you have the 2 black lines at the top and the bottom here. I like to take the journaling strip and add it to the very top of the piece of paper, but making sure that I line it up so that the words are centered. Once I have it lined up, I do like to add a little bit of washi tape on the side just to make sure that it is secure and stays in place. I'm going to repeat the process so that I get the rest of the journaling as well as the rest of this white cardstock, so I have additional white pieces to layer underneath my journaling. So while I love using a full sheet of cardstock, I then end up with a huge pile like this. So it really depends on what you're looking for in regards to your particular style. I like to make sure that I'm using all of the cardstock and not wasting any, especially since I have a ton of white cardstock scraps laying around. So I like to do a lot. What I'm going to do now is organize these into the correct order. I can then pull up that PDF version that I have saved on my Google Drive to help me when I'm organizing my journaling strips. Now, I could have absolutely saved it in the spreadsheet, but I usually just tend to delete the information and then start over on the same spreadsheet. It's again personal preference. So I'm going to organize all of these journaling strips. So I now have them all in order and grouped by the layout. I did realize that I made a couple of mistakes. This one here I left out a word, and this one says Splash Mountain S instead of is, so I'm gonna have to reprint those. But I wanted to show you 2 ways that I do my journaling strips. So let me move these off to the side first. The first way, and probably the most common way that I like to have my journaling strips, is I take 2 of the extra white pieces of cardstock that I have cut out using the die, and I will put my liquid adhesive on the journaling strip pieces, adhere them together, and then adhere a top layer of the journaling. I'll make sure that it is straight by kind of tapping it on the side of the journaling strip, also running my fingers down the side of it, and then I also make sure that it is straight on the sides by moving it around. This is why it's good to use the liquid adhesive, because sometimes I will need to kind of move it around. I don't always make them straight. You can see here I didn't get it exactly straight. That's also why I like to cut mine down. Once I get them all adhered down, I will use my paper trimmer to trim up the sides. And then adhere them directly to my layout. Now I don't like the way that the date will lay off of this one, so I'm going to find a different spot for this. I was thinking of maybe putting it on the other half. I was thinking about maybe putting it on this layout here, maybe up here. Maybe down here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it up there. The other way that I like to put my journaling strips down is to use foam adhesive. I purchased this scrapbook.com premium foam adhesive. The first thing that I'm gonna do is to cut off the white edges from the journaling strips. Once I have those cut off, I will pull 2 strips of these foam adhesives, and they will stay together, and adhere them down on my journaling strip. And then just peeling off the backing and adding them to my layout. Of course, you know I have to pull out my T-square ruler. Once I get the first one down, the other ones do tend to be pretty easy to get down. You don't have to use the blank journaling strips or even the foam adhesive. You can add the journaling strips directly to your layout and they will be flat. These are all personal preferences. I hope this tutorial was helpful. I love my journaling strip die and I love the look that it has on my layouts. The link to Nicole's Facebook group is listed below, where you can get the information about this particular journaling strip. I also have an affiliate link listed below if you would like to pick up this journaling strip die. And then Nicole's video on how to use the journaling strip is also linked below. Check that out, especially if you want to see how she uses the Google Doc. If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more Let's Learn About It videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.